Hi, and welcome to the first episode of Remembering Who I Am. Now, the truth of the matter is, this is just a happening, and let me tell you a little bit of what's going on. In the Spanish-speaking community, I have over 1,000 videos, and this is just something that happened. It's not something that I did in a sense of, oh, I'm going to do these videos because I want to either get popular or become famous or attract people to hear me or anything. No, not at all. As I look back in my life, we're going to be talking a bit about that. I have realized how everything has been happening. As a musician, I was a musician, and now I'm recording a new record. As a stand-up comedian, which I did for many years in the United States, I realized that everything that happened in my life was just simply a happening. It's not something that I said, oh, this is what I want, and I want to move into that direction. So this is just a happening. And then creating videos and all that kind of stuff was just also happenings. It's not something that I on purpose intend to happen. It's just basically what happened. Just like this moment, this is just a happening. This is not something that I'm doing because there's a motive behind it, except the fact that this is what's happening. Okay? So when spirituality came into my life, it's just like something took over. So I've never chose this journey. As I look in my life, I've never chosen anything. But this is just what happened in my life. And now for some reason, don't ask me why, there's this natural desire, if you want to call it, to begin to start doing videos in English. I have made other videos in English, but again, these are just sporadic things that I would do at moments, and now maybe I might find myself doing videos in English. So, having said that, in this series, or whatever you call it, today I'm going to talk about happiness, and this state of happiness that sometimes or everyone is always seeking. So first of all, I'm going to share my experience, and that's a limitation in language because there's no such a thing as an I. So therefore there's no such a thing as an I having an experience. Experience is what is. But because there's the limitations of language, I'll do the best to attempt to point, in the direction of no direction, just pointing towards we might call truth, if you want to use that term. But let's see where it leads. So anyhow, the happiness, it's really no more than what you are. It's not what you have. It's not what I have. It's not what I experience. It's the nature of my being. Now, this is what it gets interesting. Happiness is not a state. Okay? Happiness is simply what is, the experience itself. States are things that change. Today I feel happy, tomorrow I don't feel happy, or today I feel this way, in an hour I feel different. And that's very confusing because states are things that supposedly happen to that which is always changing. The only thing that is always changing is the appearances, meaning that this individual is an appearance in all that there is. And this constantly changes, you see? But all that there is, the nature of what I am, never changes. That is our natural state. So, as I look at life, or experience, or again, what is, I cannot not be happy because of the nature of what I am. It's impossible. However, happiness, in the sense that we're talking here, it has to do with peace of mind. Peace of mind and happiness are exactly the same thing, because that is the natural state of rest. You see, it's funny because we just have to wait until people die to put rest in peace. And the invitation here is that you can rest in peace right now. Okay? If you don't make the mistake of associating happiness or peace with a state. See? Right now, this is happiness. This is peace. This is all that there is. But when the mind identifies itself with an individual, with that which changes, it seems, or have forgotten, or what you want to call it, that happiness is gone, or that happiness is a transitory state. Happiness and peace, if you notice, there's a quote that says, regarding to peace, the peace that passes understanding. Because understanding is of the mind, and peace is what I am. So, what is the mind's understanding? Things are in a particular way. This is who I am. This feels this way. This feels the other way. All that is understanding. But inner peace is the awareness of the experience itself, regardless of what changes are taking place. You see? In other words, this moment is inner peace. This moment is absolute happiness in spite of whatever I'm feeling, of whatever is happening, of whatever I'm doing, of whatever I'm thinking. You see? Because all of that are transitory experience. What do you want to call it? Imagery, illusionary, changing things. But what I am never changes. What I am simply is. This is it. This is it. That in this moment there's a headache. This is it. That in this moment there's agitation in the world, in the illusory experience of apparent external things, because that is again the belief that I am this thing, and because of that idea, that's what reinforces the belief that there's an outside world, in the same way that there's this apparent I. But in a sense, this being it, no matter what may be taking place, no matter what thoughts may be the mind might be thinking, and what I talk about mind, I don't mean this mind. This is part of the illusory experience. So there's not even a mind in here. This is just what appears to be. What I talk is mind, that which supposedly is projecting the thing. Okay, so this is it, and that's it. There's nothing else. And in this space, sensations occur, feelings, sensations, thoughts occur, situations might appear to occur. See, everything appears to occur. And yet, the space in which all of it occurs is never changing. You see? It's not a state. It's a permanent a space that never changes. That is peace of mind. That is happiness. You see? When that awareness settles in, the realization is that I'm always happy. You're always happy. And sometimes you may feel like this. Sometimes it'll be like, it doesn't matter. One doesn't mean happiness, the other one doesn't. Both of them are happiness because happiness is. Both of them are peace because peace is. Now, that I'm laughing or I feel pain or pleasure or whatever, these are your constant states, you see? That's all there is. My happiness is untouched by those states. My inner peace is untouched by those states. Because happiness and peace is what I am. It's not pleasure, and lack of happiness is not pain. Pain is a sensation. Pleasure is another sensation. Both means absolutely nothing. When there's no meaning to anything, then all that there is what is. And all that there is happiness, peace. There's nothing else. You see? And that's why it is said that when someone is conscious, he's happy. When someone is unconscious, it's not that he's not happy, it's that he's taking everything that is happening as a personal thing. Is the consequences of that way of living life is very painful. You see? So in truth, you're happy, I'm happy. It cannot not be any other thing that happiness. You're peace, I'm peace, because we cannot not be anything other than that. That is pain, that there's a feeling of pain right now. Okay, that's a temporary state. That there's pleasure right now. Okay, that's a temporary state. That there's a lot of noise right now, or low, it doesn't matter. Everything is a temporary state. But all that seems to be taking place, sensations and feelings and thoughts or whatever, all these temporary states are apparent happenings within all that there is. And all that there is peace, happiness, joy, just all that there is. And this is not something that I want you to understand, because it's not an understandable thing. This is an awareness. But these words that appears to be taking place between the appearance of an I that appears to be talking to a you are pointers. Just pointers. That's all there is, pointers. So I don't know if I'm going to keep doing videos like this, because again, in Spanish I do a lot of them, because it's just what happens. You see, it's nothing else. But this is just what happened. This is what is taking place. You're watching this video because you're supposed to watch this video, because that's what's happening. I am recording this video because I'm supposed to record this video, because it's what's happening. But there's no intentionality behind it. All that there is just this moment. This is just what is. You see. That's how I feel, you know. And again, every time I say I feel, I'm completely aware that it's not an I that feels, but again, limitation of language. Okay. This is the way we communicate. And this has been, again, my experience, that there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. Life is living me. You see, life, awareness, consciousness, whatever you want to call it, is expressing itself through each one of its parts. I appear to be one of its parts. You see, it's like when you're in a dream state. When you're dreaming, there's only you. That's it. No one else. But then when the mind identifies with the dream itself, in the dream there appears to be many. Does that make sense? And that's where the idea of I and you and us is born. But in the mind, there's no such thing as an I and a you and an us, because the mind is all that there is. Same thing here. There's no such thing as me and you and the world. There's no such thing. That's the illusion. All that there is I. And it's not an I as a recognizable I that says I recognize myself as I, because then it's still missing the mark. I is all that there is. God is all that there is. Love is all that there is. And if mind, awareness, consciousness, or whatever is inspiring to create videos or information like this, which is the only information that is being since whatever, because there's no such thing as time, but again, we can talk about that in another video. Then life is very simple. It's very, very simple. Life is simply what is. And this is what we're remembering. See, that's why these videos are about that, just remembering who I am. I believe Ramana Maharshi used to make such a point about focusing on the I am. But I think that where sometimes we can miss the mark is believing that there's the character, the I, who needs to think in the I am. See, because what we're saying is that there's no such thing as a character, as a body, as an I, as a person. So when I try to think of I am feeding the idea of a person that now that it's thinking in the I am, hoping that if it thinks enough in the I am, it'll awaken to the I am, and that's how we overlook that awakening or awakened or awake. I don't know exactly what the right term. That awake is what I am. You see, awakening is not a state. Awakening is not something that I go for, that I strive for. As a matter of fact, the more I strive for awakening, the farther away I step away from it, because awakening is not something that happens in the future. Awakening is the state in which I'm already right now. This is a state of awakening. But as an awareness, I cannot say that I'm awake. If I say that I'm awake, then who's the I that is saying that I'm awake? Awakening, awake is the state. This is awakening. This is it. And that's why this is happiness. This is peace. All that he's been seeking is a state in which I already am, and because I was seeking for it, I could never have the experience. Or I overlooked the experience of that which I am. So I feel that Ramana Maharshi was trying to make a point, sort of like instead of me trying to think in the I am, is sort of like saying, just don't distract yourself with what you are not. You see? So instead of focusing on the I am, because again, who is the one focusing on the I am? This is the frustration. I was talking to a person that usually gives talks and he says, I get people to always focus in the I am. And I would say, why? Because then again, the person thinks that that's the one who has to focus in the I am. You see? It's much simpler to realize that what I am not. And what I am not my thoughts, I am not my feelings, I am not my sensations, I am not my experiences, I am not this person that supposedly is speaking to this camera. You see? I am not anything that can be perceived, that can be felt, that can be seen, that can be heard. None of that. That's what I'm not. So to me, focusing on the I am is not so much as focusing on the I am, it's much about not allow the mind to be distracted with what it believes it is. Does that make sense? So in that sense, believe it or not, I do nothing. I don't do anything. I just observe life happening. And again, limitation of language, because there's no such thing as an I observing life happening. I'm just simply saying this is, again, the truth is that there's not even a point of making a video and talking to no one. But this is happening. And I observe it as a happening. I don't think it's important. I don't think this message goes to anyone. Again, this is just a happening that for some reason is what's happening, and that's it. You see? So as long as or life through me keeps inspiring for these videos to take place, the videos will continue to be done. In the meantime, I'll do other things. My music, recording and everything. I'll send a link or so when I start getting some of my. I already have videos in Spanish, music videos, and I got some of the in English ones from my first record. But this is just happening. I don't even know where my life is going, because my life is not going in a particular direction. This is it. This is it. You see? When there's no identification with the I, there's no future, because there's never been a future. But there's no such thing as a future. All that there is what is. There's no fear of death, because what is death? Death is something that happens to an apparent I. You see? But the I that Ramana might be referring to is the eternal I. Is the space itself. Is all that there is. In which everything appears to be happening. But in reality, nothing is happening. This is all that there is. And this is inner peace. This, and let me correct, there's no such thing as inner peace, because there's no such thing as outer peace. This is peace. This is happiness. It's all that there is.